Okay, so I'm here with Simon Rogers of Pelgrane Press. Pelgrane is one of the two large UK companies, along with Cubicle 7. What have you got going on at the moment, Simon?
Well, our biggest game, and something that we haven't really done before, is 13th Age, which we've produced with former WotC staffers Jonathan Tweet and Rob Hainsou.
I actually meant to ask you about that, actually. I'm really fascinated by that. Wait, that's not out yet, is it?
It's not quite out yet. It's on pre-order, and the final version has been written and is available to pre-orderers, but it's about to go into layout. Most of the artwork's already been done.
So it's available in sort of PDF format to the pre-orderers?
Yeah. And I think we've got 50, what we're calling the Escalation Edition left of the 1,000 that we're selling, and they've got a few extra bits and pieces included with it.
So I understand it's billed as a love letter to D&D, but it's not actually an edition of D&D as such. It's not like 5th edition. What could you tell us about the game?
Well, it's not restricted by any necessity to worry about legacy. So 5th edition is going to be a great game, but they really have to worry about the tradition, their existing player base, and make sure they try and keep everybody happy. Whereas this is Rob and Jonathan's game they play. This is what the two of them and their friends play at home. They both have a slightly different take on it, so Jonathan's a much harsher GM and Rob's a slightly more gentle GM, and so that comes through in the text as well. It's not written in a way that you would imagine, say, a D&D book was written, because it's got very personal voices from both of them disagreeing with each other about stuff. And it also includes a lot of story game elements. Jonathan Tweet did Over the Edge, and they both love indie games, and so they've incorporated story elements in so that the players get to contribute a bit towards the background of the story while still maintaining the kind of fast combat options that people love in D&D.
So would it be fair to say that perhaps the game contains elements from various editions of D&D, at least in spirit, if not the rules mechanics?
Not directly, I suppose.
I haven't seen it myself, so
no. It's hard to say whether it's. It doesn't kind of. It's not a hodgepodge. It's not a jigsaw of bits and pieces from both editions. It is its own thing, but some of the approaches will be familiar to people, because obviously Rob worked on 4th edition and Jonathan worked on 3rd edition.
So two very different approaches.
Yeah, indeed. So this is more than just two things mixed together. It's its own thing. I think in particular the way that the character classes are structured, if you want to play a really easy class, you don't want to have to think. You just play a ranger or a paladin.
Yeah.
If you want to be quite cerebral and have loads of options when you're in combat, you would play a thief or a wizard. So they're not all of equal complexity. They're all different, but they will suit different levels of playing intensity, people who want more or less technical things.
Our Hoot Trail.
Yeah.
Now, I'm interested in this because my good friend Kevin Kulp is heavily involved in it. What can you tell us about that game?
Well, it was originally written by Clinton R. Nixon, who is an indie game designer of some repute, and basically me and my game group downloaded it and played it, and I just had such a good time. I mean, it's fun, particularly for British people, to put on stupid American accents and pretend to be cowboys. We couldn't get enough of it, really. So I asked Clinton if I could publish it, and he said I could. And he did a bit of work on it, but then life interfered, and he was no longer able to work on it. So I thought Kevin Kulp would be the man to go to. He'd done such good work on writing Stowaway, and just was brilliant at Gumshoe actual play. I'd played with him, I'd heard the playtest reports, and it turns out he's also a brilliant writer.
He's a bit too brilliant at everything, really, isn't he?
He is. He's almost a perfect human being.
Yes.
Almost. But what he did to it, I sent it off to Clinton, he was initially a bit worried about it, I think, but he came back and said, I can't believe what he's done to this game. I'm going to be playing this game. I'm going to be promoting it at conventions. And he really got really excited by it because he just put a Western twist on everything. For example, apparently it's a thing in America to say sucking on Hind Tit, which is what he's called the person last in the round.
Right.
who is restricted because they have to run from one place to another. They're sucking on Hind Tit, which probably sounds a lot better in an American accent.
That's a common saying.
Apparently so.
So that's available now.
It's not available now.
It's not
just
available
been
now.
finished. Play testing is finished. It's now going into production. A chap called Rich Longmore, who's done some brilliant cowboy comics, is going to be doing the artwork for it.
Brilliant. And 13th Age will be
13th Age will be out in March.
fantastic. So on a slightly different tack, I've been hearing Pelgrane's name frequently recently. Yeah, you're all over the place. Have you been expanding a bit recently? Have you been... I mean, I've been aware of your existence for a number of years, but certainly recently, in the last year or so, I seem to be hearing Pelgrane. Why is that?
Well, a couple of years ago, I was looking for a volunteer to do some work on some maps for Bookhounds of London. And Beth Lewis came into the office and started doing work on it.
Yeah.
And I then realised that she knew ridiculous amounts of stuff about the mythos. So, for example, I mentioned the Elder Sign, and she said, which one? So I thought, we've got something here.
There, yeah.
So suddenly, I, out of nowhere, I thought, well, actually, I could employ this person full time. Now, my main source of income, my living, is pro fantasy software.
Yes.
Pelgrane's always been a sideline, but about 3 years ago, it just kicked off with her working full time and our production schedule increasing. I was wondering how much demand there was for our books and whether producing more books would reach some kind of a cap, but it's worked the other way around. The more books we produce, the better all of the books do.
So do you see more of this in the future, or is the software still your primary?
The software will continue to be my primary thing, but we've now employed Kenneth Hyde.
Yes.
He's now working
Yes,
for us for at least 6 months, hopefully more, and he will. He's got so many things he needs to do. More Night's Black Agent supplements. He's doing mythos expeditions for Trail of Cthulhu. He's doing the Dracula dossier and the unredacted Dracula. So he's going to take the original Bram Stoker and write British Secret Service notes in the margins and unredact the bits.
That sounds brilliant. That sounds incredibly cool. You do seem to be like attracting talent. I mean, aside from him, you've got Robin Laws.
Yeah.
That we've interviewed him a few minutes ago, actually.
Oh yes.
And we've mentioned Kevin Kulp and a number of other people you've mentioned. So are you reaching out to these people? Are they coming to you? How are you attracting all this talent?
It's a combination of things. Often we recruit from people who play our games.
Yes. Okay.
But people are beginning to approach us more and more. Or occasionally I'll just politely ask somebody if they wouldn't mind doing something, and then they
turn around and say, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Partly because look, these other awesome people have been working for Pelgrane. It must be a good thing. So whether that's true or not, they do end up working for it.
Yeah, we were talking to Dom from Cubicle 7 earlier about how he got the Doctor Who license, and he said basically just asked.
Yeah.
And they said yes. So and that's what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
And people just turn around and say yes.
It helps having Robin Laws know everybody as well with his little black book.
Well, with contacts.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And it can't do anything because those two in particular are very well respected writers, aren't they? And they've been around for donkey's years.
And they're very.
Let's
I look forward to seeing
like
that. No, please do. They deserve all they get. Yes, the Ken and Robin Talk About Stuff podcast that they're running has really taken off.
I haven't heard that actually, but I do intend to. Is that...
Oh, it's so good, so funny. They just won a Golden Geek actually for that, and they've only done 15 episodes. They generally mock me. They generally mock me once a week, at least.
Well, it's definitely worth listening to then.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us, and good luck with all the things you have going on here. And we'll talk to you again maybe next year here at Dragonmeet if you're going to be here.
Indeed. Oh, yes, please.
Will you be at Gen Con?
I'll certainly be at Gen Con. 13th Age will be stacked high there.
Yeah, we're likely to be doing this all over again at Gen Con, just on a much bigger scale. So.
Oh, wonderful! You can certainly speak
as well.
You can certainly speak to Rob and Jonathan if they're at the stand, which they may well.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, 13th Age will be out by then as well.
Yeah,
so.
indeed.
I know what I'm talking about. That does sound fantastic. So I can't wait to see that.
Okay.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.